Hi there, welcome to the Mountain of God. My name is Camille. Today is 22nd of May 2021. Welcome to video number 32. Today I want to talk about why it's so important to be smart and why it's gonna play like one of the major roles in time which is coming. You see, there's tons of theories, there's tons of doctrines, there are tons of theologies that we've got in churches. And that's why we've got so many denominations, so many churches that, have different view on things. And we talked about it, a little bit yesterday, and I kind of thought about how to, or what we're supposed to know and how we're supposed to look at all of this so we would not be deceived. Because you see, one of the major things which is problematic and which is a tactic of the enemy, and even it is a tactic of the intelligence agencies. If you look and dig a little bit for it, you'll see that one of the ways you hide the truth is not by lying about it, but overwhelming people with so much different theories about it that they cannot differentiate which one is true, which one is a lie. And you see, one of those things attacked church very much. And we've got tons of theories which basically overwhelms us to the point that we don't know what to believe in. And it might be a problem because it brings complete chaos to the church. And that's why I want to talk about being smart, because that's the only way to deal with all of this. And there is a very simple solution you may try to apply, or you may apply, and it will help you to deal with all of this. But let me paint the picture. I will talk about few theories that basically you might be on one of the extremes, having this or that point of view. But for some reason, some years ago, maybe because I'm an engineer, I start to apply common sense to everything. And for some logical, although surprising to some degree, reason, God seems extremely logical. If you understand his way of thinking, at least to this degree to understand what we're going to be talking about, he seems extremely logical. Let me show an example. There are churches who believe that there's something like predestination, that you completely have no impact on what's going to happen, in putting it in very simple terms, oversimplifying it to huge degree. And this theory might have impact or not if we're living in time of peace, when it's just our theories, and talking about it is just having a discussion, just to have a discussion. But if you look at this from a different point of view, you may ask yourself, what would be the impact on me, on anybody else for that matter, if I would believe this theory? That I don't have free will, that I don't have any choice on whatever is going to happen to me. And then you will see that at the end of the day, if you simplify everything, you understand that if I don't have impact on anything, why would I try? And why would I care? And you see, there's tons of people who have exactly that kind of approach to life. If everything is fixed already, why would I try? Why would I try to become better? Why do I try to better myself, sacrifice things just to make progress? It makes no sense. Because if it's already written in cards that I'm not going to be saved, why would I try? And if it's written there that I will be saved, then why would I try if I cannot do anything to change that? Common sense. And you can see that this theory have no meaning. Obviously, there's a deeper level, and we talked about it, that you might have impact on some smaller things, or some things that are gonna have impact on you. But let's say that if we're gonna pray for hell to cease to exist, do you really think that there's a number of us that we need, like sign like a petition, it will happen? And then God will say, oh, I haven't thought about it, and I think I'll have to change every prophecy and everything that was said in the Bible just because they tricked me, they played me. Of course, it's not going to happen. But but looking at it from the other perspective, if everything is set, there's no meaning for making any progress, and there was no meaning to kill Jesus. There was no meaning to anything because it's all a movie. The other theory, which is kind of like a, I think, extended version of this, some people believe that if you are saved, God has nothing on you. You just said these magic words, and God cannot do anything. He is in catch-22. That's what some people call, I think, I don't remember what was the name of it. Anyway, it's all about you being assured of your salvation. I think assurance of salvation, that was the term, I think. But it makes no sense. Why would God write in Bible that, if you're lukewarm, then be cold or be hot, because if you're lukewarm, I'm going to spit you out of my mouth? Why would he write that if there's no reason for you to do anything because you're already saved? It makes no sense. So then again, this kind of theory, which I assume it's very, very nice to believe in, because then you can give yourself permission to do whatever you want, just because you want to. But it's completely opposite. It's contrary to what Bible says. So if you use common sense, you can just throw it away. And I want to talk about one other theory, which is probably much closer to home, especially because of the time. And I won't really tell you what's my idea. Maybe I'm going to talk about it in some videos in the future. But I want to talk about the rapture. You see, now when we are at the end of times, basically, you really want to think about that because you don't want to be tricked. Listen, there's a theory which says the rapture is going to happen before the Great Tribulation. Some other people say that it's in the middle. Some people say that it will happen after the Great Tribulation. And listen, let's look at it this way. Because the time is up, and because we will have to know what's going to happen, I want to look at it not from a theological perspective, but from the impact perspective. Because let's look at it. What will happen if you teach people that we're going to be taken away from here before the Great Tribulation? And unfortunately, this is a very sad truth, that most of the people will try to hide their head in the sand. They try to just to hide themselves and just to slip into that state and be basically taken away from here without sacrificing anything. Because if rapture is going to happen before everything is going to blow up in our faces, why would I try? And that's why I see so many Christians doing anything they want and just, praising the Lord. Oh, hallelujah, we're going to be taken away from here. Some of those people who believe in this truth, they have this approach like, it means that we've got so much less time. Let's do something about it. Let's preach the gospel and try to save as much as we can. And I respect that. But the percentage-wise, at least from my perspective and my experience, the percentage of these people is so small that it's not even comparable to any degree. So that's why this theory will produce escapist church that will try to just survive to be taken out of here. What will happen if you get people and we will teach them that it will happen after the Great Tribulation, that through all that time of this misery and pain, we will be here? You will get people who definitely will be scared. You will get people who will definitely be afraid of what's coming. But at least they're mentally be prepared that if time will come, I will suffer, and time will come, I'm okay with laying my life for Christ. Because I know that if it's gonna mean that I have to die, or just say that just basically drop everything, I would make a decision without blinking. And you see, let's go even farther. Let's think about, what will happen if people who believe that we're going to go through all of this, that we're going to be taken off this planet at the end of the Great Tribulation, what will happen if these people were wrong? And Jesus said, nope, you're wrong. Then you've been prepared to lay your life and suffer, and you've been taken away before time. I would say that's cool. Maybe these people would not pay so much attention at the beginning to be pushed to serve and basically get as many people as we can to the kingdom, because you would know that the tough time will come, and that will be probably push many people to ask those questions. But at the end of the day, you will end up with your Father before this whole thing will happen. Not a bad ending. But what will happen, or what will happen, if those who are taught that the rapture will happen before Great Tribulation, and if they will be wrong? You'll end up with tons of Christians in Great Tribulation, suffering and dying, being completely physically, mentally unprepared, and ask, why are we even here? You taught us that we will be taken out, that we were taken away from here. Why? And because of this horror that they're going to see, that they're going to basically experience the same thing that First Church had to experience, being killed on arenas. Now, how do you think it's going to impact people? So many of the people will or would completely, they will quit. Because so many of the Sunday Christians will basically say, oh, if that's not true, how can I believe that anything else is true? So you see, I want you to kind of look at it this way, not taking sides. Show me the verse in the Bible which says we're gonna be raptured from here. Because one thing that we're sure that we will, it will happen. We're gonna be lifted up in the air. We're gonna be changed, and all of this. This is written. But show me the verse which says we're gonna be taken before Great Tribulation. You can't. Show me the verse that we're gonna be taken up in the midst of the Great Tribulation. You can't. Show me the verse which says that we're going to be taken at the end of the Great Tribulation. You can't. And that's the whole point. What we know is that we don't know. So that's why I want you to look at it from this way. What will be the impact of every example, every case? Because then you'll start to see that the best option for you is to, as I think it's a military saying, says, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. And unfortunately, I don't see many churches doing that. And that's why, again and again, you want to be smart. And these are just three theologies that we have in church, which are an example of how things might get tricky. But then, going into the time, because I think the time that we are living in, it's the biggest, something that pushes me to talk about it, and that's like a main reason, because of where we live. Imagine this, that let's say US government is bringing an alien on the stage and says, listen, we've been working with them for 60 or 70 years, and this is like a intergalactical civilization which basically observed us for millions of years, and they say that now we are ready to receive understanding that we're not alone in the universe, and they will give us free energy, and they'll give us technology to live forever, to never get sick. But the one thing that we have to do is to get this chip that will connect them with their own technology, and you're going to get it for free. Imagine the situation when church is where it is right now, and people are seeing aliens making miracles that really do happen. How many Christians, you think, will have a tough time with their own system of beliefs and believing in God? You see, this is the problem. The war that we were caught in is a war with the father of lies. Do you really think that this is like, like a complete amateur in this whole game? This creature lives longer here than the whole human race. That's why God calls him father of lies, because he is good at what he's doing. So that's why what you want to do is to be smart. You really need to be smart, especially because the time is up. We're living at the end of days, and if you don't see it, you have got to start to pay attention, because you'll be caught and deceived like this. So there are two things I want to propose to you to do to get smart with your father. First of all, test your theories. Learn how to be smart and see all the angles, different theories, different things that are happening or will happen, will have impact on you. So be able to have enough knowledge to compare it to, let's say, what Bible says, and understand how do you supposed to react to that. And you see, this is the thing that I told you already. The time, when you get to the time, you become or turn from teenager to a spiritual adult. One of the things that will happen is the amount of the direct messages or direct orders that he will give you, do this or do that, will decrease. And what will increase if the amount of situations will say, okay, what would you do? What do you think I would do if I would be in your case? He will teach you, he'll train you, he'll test you. What do you think is going to happen if you're going to get closer and closer to your calling, or even enter your calling? The same thing. He'll want you to be smart as a person, intelligent in your emotions, in your mental capability. You have to become smart. So that's why read, test, listen. Don't be afraid of listening to crazy theories like some conspiracy theories, because they will tell you a lot. Not just that you're supposed to believe this or that, but to test what you think and why. Because if you're fighting against father of lies, you'll have to understand that you have to learn how to be able to differentiate a lie from truth. You've got to become smarter and more intelligent person. That's that simple. But second thing that I want you to do, again and again, you've got to deepen your relationship with your father. You have to be able to talk to him. Period. Because there will be situations when you won't get information from Bible or any other source. Like what Bible is saying about eating GMO food or about cloning? Nothing. And soon enough, and probably in some cases right now, you have to understand what would be the impact of this, how are you supposed to react to that, and everything else, like this vaccination or green passports, what's going on. You need to know the truth, and sometimes you'll be put in a spot, and you'll have to make a decision right there, and you'll have no time to make a due diligence. What you need to be able to do is to ask your father a question right there on the spot and receive the answer what you're supposed to do. Whether you have information or not, you just need to make a decision right there. So that's why everything comes back again to your capability or ability to talk to your father and get answers right away. And it's going to be basis for everything, especially when you're going to be used in your calling. You're going to be put in a situation you're supposed to have impact or do something, and you have to know what to do. And it comes with the Spirit, with the gifts, in your relationship with your father and ability to listen. So listen, one other thing that you might want to do to put this whole thing in like one bundle, and it was written in the Bible, ask for wisdom. This is that simple. When you pray, ask for wisdom. And poke God for this over and over again until you start to see Him working on it. Because it will help you to become more mature as a person, and it will become much easier for you to receive the answers because you mentally be prepared. Because if I ask for wisdom, I'm gonna get it. Put yourself in the spot that you're asking for wisdom and trying to become a smarter person and deepening your relationship to get the answer directly from him when you'll need it. Listen, this is what I want you to take from this video. Time for this meaningless discussions is over. If you look what's going on in the church, in the world, you see that we are at the end of time. We are this close to see Revelation being basically rolled up in front of us. That's why I want you to really not even consider. I want you to pursue wisdom, to become much more smarter as a person, and look for wisdom drawn directly from your Father, because you will need it, especially if you're gonna get close or get into your calling. That's gonna be must-have, definitely. So that's why ask for wisdom, test your theories, ask questions directly, and build yourself as a person that would be useful and someone that God will be able to count on. So think about it and do something about it. Because even though from a spiritual perspective we're completely irrelevant form of life, there's no comparison human to the angels or spirits. None. But because we were given gift to be directly connected from us to the Father through the Holy Spirit, we were given enough wisdom and enough authority to change things even there in the spiritual realm. So that's why be smart enough to give your Father an ability, a permission to teach you and train you so you'll become a well-trained player in his own team, worthy of playing this spiritual chess game. If you like this video, like, share and comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think and what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to do it for you. That being said, see you tomorrow.